Every royal appearance is carefully planned. Every smile is measured. Every word is rehearsed. But what if, for just a few minutes, everything fell apart? What if cameras captured a confrontation so emotional, so unexpected, that palace officials made sure nobody would ever see it? According to this fictional story, there was once a recording never meant to survive. A recording that supposedly showed the future of the Spanish monarchy hanging by a thread. And then, it disappeared. This is the fictional story of the palace footage that never reached the public. The morning began like hundreds before it. King Felipe prepared for an official recording inside one of the palace reception halls. Princess Leonor had recently returned after weeks of military responsibilities and official engagements. The purpose seemed simple: record a short institutional message celebrating unity, continuity, and the future of Spain. Several cameras were positioned around the room. Lighting technicians adjusted every angle. Staff rehearsed everyone's movements. Nothing unusual, nothing unexpected. Until Leonor walked in, she greeted everyone politely, but those closest to the production immediately sensed something unusual. She looked exhausted, not physically, emotionally. Even the makeup artists whispered that she barely spoke. King Felipe noticed. As always, he asked quietly, "Are you ready?" Leonor nodded. "I'll do what's expected." The answer sounded respectful, yet somehow cold. The filming began. The opening lines went perfectly. Father and daughter stood together. Future and present. The symbolism looked flawless. Then came a section requiring them to speak more naturally, without reading from prepared cards. King Felipe smiled. He encouraged Leonor to explain what public service meant to her. There was a long silence. Far longer than anyone expected. Finally, Leonor answered, "It means giving everything." Another pause. "And sometimes forgetting who you are." The room froze. Those words had never appeared in the official script. Several staff members exchanged nervous looks. The director quietly motioned for filming to continue. Perhaps it would smooth itself over. Instead, everything changed. King Felipe gently interrupted. "We all make sacrifices." Leonor looked directly at him. "But do we choose them?" The cameras kept recording. Nobody dared stop. The microphones captured every breath. King Felipe remained calm. "It isn't always about choice." Leonor's voice stayed respectful. "But it should matter." Silence. One camera operator later claimed, within this fictional story, that nobody inside the room even remembered to blink. Years of royal discipline, suddenly replaced by honest emotion. The king took one careful step closer. "This conversation isn't for today." Leonor answered immediately. Then when nobody had expected the future queen to challenge her father publicly. Not with anger, not with disrespect, but with heartbreaking sincerity. She wasn't shouting. She wasn't accusing. She simply sounded tired. Tired of carrying expectations. Tired of pretending every sacrifice felt natural. The director whispered, "Cut." Another producer quietly answered, "No. Keep rolling. History might be happening." King Felipe lowered his voice. "You were prepared for this life." Leonor answered softly, "I was prepared to serve." She paused. "I wasn't prepared to stop being myself." Even technicians began looking away. Because suddenly, this no longer felt like official filming. It felt like a family speaking honestly for the first time in years. King Felipe remained composed, but his expression changed. For a brief moment, he looked less like a monarch, more like a father struggling to find the right words. He replied, "You think I never felt that?" Leonor seemed surprised. "So you understand." "I understand more than you know." Another long silence filled the room. Nobody moved. Not security, not advisors, not camera operators. Everyone simply watched. King Felipe slowly removed the prepared speech from his hands. He placed it on a nearby table. "No document teaches you this." Leonor nodded. "I know, but every decision feels like someone else's." The king's shoulders dropped. Perhaps, in that fictional moment, both realized they were speaking not as ruler and heir, but as father and daughter. Leonor finally asked the question she had carried for years. "Did you ever regret it?" The room became perfectly still. Every microphone captured the silence. King Felipe didn't answer immediately. His eyes drifted toward one of the palace windows. Then he quietly said, "I regretted the moments I couldn't be simply your father." Leonor's expression softened. For the first time that morning, her eyes filled with tears. Not because she was angry, because she finally understood. The crown had taken something from both of them. Different things, but painful all the same. One lost a normal childhood. The other lost ordinary fatherhood. Neither had chosen completely, yet both accepted their responsibilities. The director quietly lowered his headset. Several palace employees were visibly emotional. One assistant reportedly wiped away tears. Again, in this fictional story, Leonor stepped closer. I never wanted you to think I blamed you. King Felipe answered. I blamed myself enough. Those words echoed through the room. Not because they were dramatic. Because they felt painfully human. The confrontation everyone expected had quietly become reconciliation. No shouting, no accusations, just honesty. Perhaps honesty the palace had never planned to record. Filming ended naturally. Nobody announced, cut. Nobody applauded. Everyone simply stood there, silent. King Felipe placed one hand gently on Leonor's shoulder. She smiled. A real smile this time. Not for photographers. Not for headlines. For her father. The production team believed the footage might become one of the most powerful royal moments ever recorded. Until senior palace communications officials arrived. They requested every memory card. Every backup drive. Every recording log. No explanation. Just instructions. Hours later, editors received a completely different version. The emotional conversation had disappeared. Only polished smiles remained. Prepared speeches. Formal greetings. Perfect transitions. The confrontation, gone. The reconciliation, gone. Every trace removed. Officially, nothing unusual had happened. The public saw another flawless royal appearance. The cameras never revealed the silence, the tears, the questions, or the father's quiet confession. Within this fictional story, one editor supposedly asked why everything had been deleted. A senior official answered with only one sentence. The monarchy protects the institution. The editor replied, what about the family? No answer came. Years passed. Rumors occasionally surfaced. Some claimed forgotten storage drives still existed. Others believed one untouched copy remained hidden somewhere inside palace archives. No evidence ever appeared. Perhaps none ever existed. Or perhaps, the recording became another royal secret. Not because it exposed scandal, but because it revealed something even more powerful. Imperfection. A king uncertain. A daughter searching for herself. A family trying to balance love with duty. Maybe that image felt too human. Too vulnerable. Too real. Because monarchies often survive through symbols. But families survive through honesty. And sometimes, those two things are difficult to show at the same time. If that fictional footage had ever reached the world, people might not have seen weakness. They might have seen courage. The courage to admit that even those born into crowns struggle with impossible expectations. That behind every ceremony, there are private conversations. Behind every royal wave, there are unanswered questions. And behind every carefully edited broadcast, there may exist moments the world was never meant to witness. Perhaps the greatest royal secret isn't hidden inside vaults. Perhaps it's hidden inside the scenes that never make the final cut. And maybe, those unseen moments tell the most human story of all. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this fictional royal drama, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more imaginative stories inspired by public figures, always presented as fiction for entertainment purposes.